An envoy arrived at a foreign court and was deliberately humiliated. The gate was built low, so they told him to crawl through a dog hole to enter. He did not get angry. He smiled and said, "I am an envoy to the kingdom of dogs, so of course I should use a dog hole." The other side had no choice but to open the proper gate. Inside the hall, someone pointed at him and said, "Is there no one left in your state?" They sent a little dwarf? He answered, "Our state has rules for choosing envoys. The worthy go to worthy rulers. The unworthy ones get sent to you." After that line, the whole hall did not know whether to laugh or rage. This man was Yen Ing, known as Master Yen. His stories were collected centuries later by a Ming dynasty novelist into a book with a two-word title, Jinan, the Wisdom Satchel. Good evening. This is Bedside Book Voice. Tonight we read Jinan. If you are already lying down, dim the lamp a little more. Set the phone farther away. Pull the blanket up. This book is not like Sun Tzu, teaching you how to lay out a battlefield. It is not like Gaguzi, teaching you how to read every hidden motive in a heart. It is more like a bedside case library of quick wit. When ancient people hit a dead end, how did they turn the whole room around in one sentence, one glance, half a turn of the body? You do not need to memorize hundreds of stories tonight. You do not need to read the whole book from cover to cover. Just follow my voice and hear how Feng Menglong packed 2,000 years of verbal sharpness into one volume you can listen to while lying flat. If you fall asleep halfway, that is fine. Quick wit does not have to be mastered in one night. I will not scold you either. Let me say this plainly first. Tonight you do not need to remember names. You do not need to test yourself on dynasties. You certainly do not need notes. What you take away is a few kinds of feeling, the sense of a mind turning a little faster. When to push back hard. When to go around. When one sentence works better than 10. When we are done, you will have a few images you can recall at the pillow. If you fall asleep halfway, that still counts as having read the book. The envoy who crawled through the dog hole will show up again later. Let us bury one question first. Why did Feng Menglong name this book Jinan, a wisdom satchel, instead of something like the complete encyclopedia of stratagems? Chew those two words. That is the first bite of tonight's meal. The full title is often given as Jinan through the ages. The compiler was Feng Menglong, a man of the late Ming. You have probably heard his other names. He is the one behind the 3 words and 2 slaps, those famous story collections. The same man spent his days editing street tales and his nights gathering historical flashes of wit. That is not a contradiction. The late Ming was turbulent. Hearts were restless. Some lived by fiction. Some lived by the examination path. Feng Menglong walked both roads. He believed scholars should not only recite sage lines. They should also know the real moments when someone brought a dead situation back to life. Jinan is the bag that holds those moments. The book's structure is unusual. It is not a dynasty by dynasty chronicle. It is sorted by types of intelligence. Supreme wisdom. Clear wisdom. Observant wisdom. Bold wisdom. Method wisdom. Quick wisdom. Literary wisdom. Women's wisdom. Thieves' wisdom. Humorous wisdom. Child wisdom. Just hearing the names, you can tell Feng Menglong was asking a question. Cleverness comes in more than one shape. Some people look dull and see far. Some have sharp eyes and calm hearts. Some are bold and careful at once. Some children stun a whole room with one answer. Tonight we will not march through every volume by name. We will pick the kinds that feel most bedside, most sleep-friendly, and easiest to carry back into daily life, and string them together. When that string is done, if you open the original book later, it will not feel like a wall of names. It will feel like someone in the dark gently tapping your forehead and saying, "This matter can be thought about another way." First, meet Feng Menglong himself. His courtesy name was Yulong. He also used the studio name Master of the Ink Fool's Retreat. He was from Suzhou in Jiangsu, born in 1574, died in 1646. He was bright as a boy, but the examination road was hard for him. He was still working on lower degrees well into middle age and once served briefly as a county assistant. Official life disappointed him. His pen did not. He edited Awakening the World, Warning the World, and Enlightening the World, the 3 words. He also edited Slapping the Table in Amazement, first and second series, the 2 slaps. In those street stories he wrote love, greed, retribution, sometimes sharp, sometimes tender. Then the same hands turned to Jinang, and the tone changed. Less decoration. More recording of the exact second when a knot came loose. You will notice that when a novelist edits historical cases, he chooses drama. When drama passes through a novelist's eyes, what remains is the person. In the Jiangnan of the late Ming, printing was advanced and bookshops competed fiercely. Readers did not only want sage texts. They wanted stories they could use. Use here does not mean success manual use. It means, if tomorrow I meet a similar situation, my chest does not feel so empty. Feng Menglong caught that need. Jinang was first printed in the Tianqi reign and spread widely. Later came supplements and continuations. Different shops rushed to reprint. If the copy on your shelf has a different chapter count, do not worry tonight. What we are reading is the force behind Feng Menglong's choices. The force is in verbal edge, not in fancy language. The first category is called Supreme Wisdom. Supreme here does not mean lofty. It means the situation is already bad, and someone still lifts it one level higher. Yen Ying's mission to Chu is the front door of this type. The low gate, the insult to the envoy, both were tests. Is Qi soft? Yen Ying did not collide head-on. He sent their own logic back to them. You made me crawl through a dog hole, so I will treat you as admitting you are the kingdom of dogs. You mocked my height, so I will treat you as admitting your ruler is unworthy. This is not mere wordplay. In diplomacy, it is using the smallest force to protect national dignity. Lying in bed, think about the day. If someone deliberately sets a trap for you, you do not always have to explode on the spot. Sometimes you pull gently along the edge of the trap, and the trap lands back on their feet. Supreme Wisdom has another story about Guanzhong. In youth he and Bao Shuya were close friends. Later they served different lords. An arrow from Guanzhong even struck Duke Huan of Qi. When Huan took power, he meant to kill Guanzhong. Bao Shuya argued hard. If you want hegemony, use Guanzhong. Once Guanzhong entered office, he was not only good at advice. He could also win without battle, the slow kind of intelligence. The stories about him in Jinan often touch on momentum. He does not try to beat you in talk. He arranges the larger pattern so you discover that ignoring him costs more. That kind of wisdom feels slow at bedtime, but steady. Steady is the kind of cleverness night needs most. Yanning has another story about oranges. The people of Chu invited him to eat oranges and deliberately said, "I suppose Qi has no oranges." Yanning said, "We do not steal varieties and plant them elsewhere. That is why in Huainan the fruit stays an orange, but moved to Huaibei it becomes a bitter trifoliate." In plain speech, when the environment changes, the nature of a thing changes too. In diplomacy it means, your rules for humiliating guests do not work in our state. Not working does not mean shouting back. It means letting the other side taste the meaning themselves. If someone presses you with rules by day, ask yourself, is this rule universal truth, or just their home field? Different fields mean orange and trifoliate were never the same fruit. Supreme wisdom also collects Zhongliang. The tale of the old man at the bridge, the shoe falling 3 times, Zhongliang picking it up 3 times, and finally receiving the military classic, has legend in it. Jinan loves him more for what came later, helping the founder of Han at the hinge point where one sentence swung the door from death to life. The Zhongliang of supreme wisdom is often the man who can endure the present and still see what comes after. If tonight you feel you endure too much, you do not have to rebel at once. Ask first, is this endurance because there is no exit, or because you are waiting for a better one? Waiting for an exit is wisdom. Enduring blindly is gambling. Leave gambling for daylight. At night, do not gamble with sleep. The second category is called clear wisdom. Clear means seeing the situation without racing your emotions. The book often shows ministers advising rulers. The words are not always loud, but they land on the sore spot. In one kind of story, the emperor is furious. The minister does not ram the wall. He offers a step down first, then offers reason. You do not need to remember which dynasty or which official. Just feel this. Clear wisdom is not I am right and you are wrong. It is I know what you can hear right now. Many of you listening to Bedside Book Voice spend your days in meetings, messages, family talk. The use of clear wisdom is often this. Let the other person keep face first. Then, after face is kept, they can still change their mind. Su Dompa appears often in Jinan. He could write poems. He could also smooth sharp corners in official life. In one kind of story, he uses humor to loosen a room pulled tight like a bowstring. Humor here is not grease. It is giving everyone the same staircase down. Think about the conversations you dread most. Often it is not unclear logic. It is frozen air. Nobody can step down. The clear-minded person saves the atmosphere first, then saves the argument. Arguments can wait until tomorrow. Sometimes if the atmosphere is saved, tomorrow you do not need the second fight. A second fight hurts sleep the most. Huazi in Jinan is often tied to measure. His merit shook the throne, yet he survived. Not because he did not see danger. Because he understood yielding. Yield merit. Yield fame. Leave a gap where suspicion can fall through. Clear wisdom here is not retreat to the mountains. It is deliberately dimming a little when you shine brightest. If you were praised today and your chest feels light, pull it in a little before sleep. Lightness makes you talk too much. Talking too much offends. Offense is tomorrow's ledger. Tonight, close the ledger. Clear wisdom has another branch called borrowing momentum. Borrowing momentum is not opportunism. It is knowing you are thin alone, so you lay a larger principle under your words. Ministers advising emperors often cite ancient sages. That is not showing off books. It is letting the emperor feel, this is not me quarreling with you. History is speaking with you. Once the conversation rises one level, emotion drops one level. Dropping one level is good bedtime material. Ask yourself. When I argue by day, am I fighting over right and wrong, or over whose voice is louder? A loud voice does not guarantee good sleep. The third category is called observant wisdom. Observe means to watch. Watch people. Watch situations. Watch the crack others miss. Some stories say a man could tell a guest's purpose from the sound of footsteps at the door or the way chopsticks were placed. That sounds like legend. The spirit is practical. Many answers are not inside the words. They sit outside them. If you often cannot tell what someone really wants, try a bedtime review. Who said what today? Who did not say what? Who went silent at which moment? Silence is sometimes more honest than one heavy sentence. Observant wisdom also writes about flaws. The volumes on thieves' wisdom and spy wisdom are not Feng Menglong teaching you to do wrong. They record how deception and defense both live in detail. You do not need to learn deception at bedtime. Learn this instead. Do not let one flattering sentence run away with you. Being run away with is a common cause of insomnia. Your mind chases someone else's mood and cannot break until midnight. Observant wisdom asks you to pause. Is this sentence fact or feeling? Plan or venting? Once you separate them, the heart feels lighter. Observant wisdom has another layer, reading momentum. Momentum is not mysticism. It is asking who needs this matter to succeed right now. When someone is urgent, you slow down. When someone is slow, you hurry. When someone needs face, give face first, then talk interest. Yanning on his mission to Chu read the momentum of Chu wanting to humiliate Qi. Guanzhong as prime minister read the momentum of lords fighting for hegemony. Read the momentum wrong, and even a clever plan feels like knocking on the wrong door. You do not need to read the momentum of the whole world before sleep. Read one thing. In tomorrow's conversation, what does the other person truly want? To win. To feel safe. To keep face. Or only to vent. Venting sometimes only needs a listener, not a solution on the spot. What cannot be solved on the spot belongs to daylight. Keeping it until midnight is inner wear. The fourth category is called bold wisdom. Bold here is not brute force. It is daring to carry one step at the crucial moment. Kojuan urging Emperor Zhenzong of Song to go personally to the front at Chanyuan is a great historical drama. Jinan does not only collect emperors. It also collects small figures at life and death moments, one sentence saving a whole boat. The underside of bold wisdom is this. You have counted the worst case, and you still dare half a step forward. You do not need to be brave tonight. Just remember. Many situations do not lack reason. They lack that half step. Take the half step by daylight. At night, admit you too have had moments of fear, and you will blame yourself less. Bold wisdom has another face called daring to ask. Daring to ask is not picking fights. It is asking, when everyone is silent, the question nobody dares to ask. Ask the right question and you save more time than 10 statements. Saving time saves sleep. A muddy daytime meeting often keeps running in your head at night. The famous ministers in Jinan are often the ones who dare to ask. After asking, they offer a step down. Then clear wisdom takes over. Bold and clear often walk as a pair, like left foot and right foot. One step daring. One step steady. The fifth category is called quick wisdom. Quick means fast. Question and answer with no gap between them. In the Child Wisdom volume, children answer adult traps more cleanly than adults. Lini as a boy answering Emperor Xuanzong of Tang is a famous scene. Jinan also gathers many prodigy tales, truth and embroidery mixed. Do not treat them as court records. Treat them as verbal gymnastics. The pleasure of quick wisdom is the shock of "oh, you can answer that way." Answering that way is not quarreling. It is shifting angles so a stuck door suddenly shows a seam. The sixth category is called method wisdom. Method means technique, a concrete move you can actually use. Unlike supreme wisdom, which works on the whole board, method wisdom is more like a craft worker. Here you edge. There you pad. The book has small stories about counting grain, counting distance, counting hearts. Reading them feels like watching a skilled hand at work. You do not need to remember move names. Just feel that cleverness is sometimes plain as bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is good news at bedtime. List tomorrow's tasks once in your head. Then shut down. That protects sleep better than lying there replaying what should I do. The seventh category is called literary wisdom. Literary means the scholar's brush and the gentleman's tongue. Stories of the examination hall, poems and wine, witty replies. Feng Menglong walked the talented scholar wrote himself, so this volume is especially lively. Some satirize in verse. Some escape trouble with a couplet. In Jinan, talent is not showing off. It is using literature to put the knife down. If you write an email by day and feel heat rising, think of literary wisdom. The same matter and another phrasing may enter the other person's ear more easily. You do not need to practice that tonight. Change one sentence tomorrow. There is also a kind called coordinating wisdom. Coordinating is how people who hold the whole field think. Not winning trick by trick, but gathering many tricks under one aim. Cao Cao, Zhu Liang, Wang Yangming often appear in Jinan in this posture. They have quick wit too, but what we remember is how in chaos they settled the heart first. Once the heart settles, the plans can follow. Lying in bed, if today felt shattered into pieces, try coordinating wisdom. Ask yourself one word to guard tonight. Peace. Or release. Guarding one word is easier than guarding 10 tasks, and easier to sleep. You may ask, what if I cannot learn this quick wit before sleep? You were never meant to learn it in one night. Jinan is not a martial arts manual. It is a case library. A case library means that when something happens, you remember one story and your chest lights up. Oh, something like that. A small light is enough. Before sleep, the brain wants looseness, not victory. Leave victory for tomorrow. Back to Feng Menglong. He lived when an old order was shaking. Examinations crowded. Commerce rose. City readers multiplied. They loved stories. They also loved historical verbal edge. He edited Jinan like a bedside reference for scholars. You do not have to fish cases out of Ziji Tongjian yourself. He fished them for you and sorted them into bags. Bag is known. So the title is not showing off learning. It is practical, like a modern person keeping negotiation cases or management cases, except his cases come from the 24 histories, unofficial histories, and anecdote collections. If this is your first time hearing Jinan, you may feel there are too many names. Too many names because Feng Menglong believed a concrete person is easier to remember than an abstract rule. Remember one move. That is enough. You do not need names at bedtime. Remember the flavor of the move. Go around. Push back. Observe. Laugh. Retreat. When the flavor is right, tomorrow your mind will fetch a similar picture on its own. Pictures are faster than concepts. Fast here does not mean making your reflexes quicker. It means giving you one less second of panic. One less second of panic is one more second of sleep. Later came Jinan Supplement, Jinan Continuation, and many versions with added or cut entries. Tonight we are not doing textual scholarship. We read Feng Menglong's eye for story. He loved drama. He loved a turn. He loved the sentence that could settle the room. Settling the room does not always need power. Often it needs the lever of language. Lever is the metaphor worth keeping at bedtime. Your strength is small, yet you can still move the situation a little if you find the right fulcrum. Where is the fulcrum? Jinan repeats a few things. First, see clearly what face the other person wants. Second, do not wrestle inside the same emotion. Third, if you can use their rule, do not build a new stove. Fourth, speak little, but land on something real. Fifth, sometimes the cleverest move is to look dull. Looking dull is not being dull. It is letting the blade leave the sheath a little later. Sheath stays. Blade stays. Sleep first tonight. You can remember only one of those 5 tonight. Remember fewer words. Too many words fuel insomnia. Say too much by day and at night the mind replays the scene and even writes the line you should have said. The winning scenes in Jinan are often short. The losing scenes are often long, rushed, and full of need to win. Need to win belongs to daylight. At night, let mouth and mind clock out together. A few more stories to make the flavor inside the satchel richer. The Women's Wisdom volume writes female verbal edge. Feng Menglong was not a modern feminist pioneer, but he admitted that inner quarters also had politics, also had quick wit that saved a husband, a household, or a whole clan's life. In some stories one sentence pulls a husband back from the edge of impulse. In others a daughter-in-law's plan preserves the family. You do not need to judge every line by today's standards. Just feel that in historical narrative women were not all silent. Silence was often what official history wrote away. Jinan at least kept some voices. The humorous wisdom volume uses laughter to thaw stiffness. Some people think Jinan is all power plays. In fact, humorous wisdom is plentiful. Laughter is a soft knife. It cannot cut iron gates. It can cut embarrassment open. If you dread being unable to step down in public, remember this. Humorous wisdom is not teaching you to be slick. It is teaching you to leave a seam that does not wound. The seam is for others. It is also for you. Leave a seam for yourself and you will not lie awake replaying why you did not speak better. The Thieves and Spy volumes should be read with judgment. Feng Menglong recorded survival tricks of an old era. They are not a manual for modern life. Listen at Bedtime is a study of what kinds of moves human pressure can grow. Growing a move does not mean you must use it. Knowing moves exist helps you avoid being tricked. Avoiding tricks steadies the heart. A steady heart sleeps. In women's wisdom there is also soft overcoming hard. Women in the old era had fewer resources, yet at key moments one sentence or one act could change a household decision. Soft does not mean weak. It means choosing not to collide where the other side is hardest. In modern life you may also meet situations where hard collision ruins both sides. With a partner. With a colleague. With a stubborn elder. Soft can mean another time, another place, another phrasing, keeping the matter alive. Keeping the matter alive protects long sleep more than winning one breath of temper. How is Jinan different from Sun Tzu? Sun Tzu stresses momentum and plan as a system. Jinan stresses point and sentence as fragments. Sun Tzu is a map. Jinan is a street photo. The map gives direction. The photo helps you remember, at this corner someone once turned like this. The turn does not need to be grand. It only needs to work. Working is the plain adult wish. Compared with Giguzi teaches reading hearts, opening and closing, leaning toward psychological war. Jinan is mostly stories that already happened, leaning toward what did people do then. One leans toward method. One leans toward example. Examples are easier to hear at bedtime, like bedside tales. Methods are easier to look up by day, like a toolbook. Bedside Book Voice gives you examples tonight, not to make you memorize methods, but to give you a few more street photos in the chest. More photos mean less panic when trouble comes. Panic is sleep's enemy. Compared with Kagenten teaches calm, retreat, staying unshaken by praise or blame. Jinang teaches turning, catching, not freezing at the crucial second. Calm is the blanket at night. Turning is the crossroad by day. The two books can share one pillow. Turn a little by day. Calm the heart at night. If you cannot calm down, often it is because you turned too hard by day and kept turning in bed. Jinan wants to remind you tonight. After the turn, remember to stop. Stopping is an action Kagenten would nod at. One practical way to read Jinang is not to read straight through. Feng Menglong himself sorted stories into bags. You can listen bag by bag. Hear supreme and clear wisdom tonight. Another night open women's wisdom or humorous wisdom. Like drawing lots. Whichever story you draw, let it walk you toward dream. Walking toward dream does not mean dreaming the whole story. It means letting the brain know humans for thousands of years already met similar awkwardness and crisis, only in different clothes. Clothes change. Moves remain. If moves remain, the heart feels less alone. A few concrete scenes to carry back into life. At work, if a boss questions you in public, think of Yening. Accept their field first. Then answer with their rule. That is not cowardice. It saves firepower. Saved firepower means your mind does not keep fighting after clockout. At home, if an elder's words carry thorns, think of clear wisdom. Offer a step down first, then reason. If reason will not enter tonight, stop. Speak tomorrow. Among friends, if someone pours out trouble to you, think of observant wisdom. Do they want a plan, or to be heard? Being heard sometimes saves a life more than 10 pieces of advice. Saving a life also saves your sleep. You do not have to be everyone's strategist. Jinan also has failure stories. Not every plan works. Not every line wins. Feng Menglong did not edit a book of guaranteed victory. He left many tales where plans ran out and wit bent. Those tales matter. They tell you clever people also miss. Missing does not need shame replayed at bedtime. Shame is the least wise reason to stay awake. You can tell yourself, today's miss may also be collected someday into some bag, helping the next sleepless person panic a little less. We are about halfway now. While we catch our breath, one small favor. If this voice kept you company tonight, tap like and subscribe. Think of it as leaving a lamp on for me in the dark. You do not need to sit up. One finger is enough. Good. Let us return to Jinong. In the second half I will bring the categories back to scenes you may meet tomorrow. Tomorrow in a meeting, if someone's words carry thorns, think of Yening. Do not stab against the thorn. Send the thorn back through logic. Tomorrow if family quarrel freezes the air, think of Su Dongpa. Soften the mood first, then the argument. Tomorrow if someone sells you anxiety, think of observant wisdom. Watch detail. Watch silence. Watch what sits outside the words. Tomorrow if you dare not decide, think of bold wisdom. Count the worst case, then decide whether you can sleep. Many decisions can wait for daylight. Waiting for daylight is itself wisdom. If you like remembering scenes, keep one from humorous wisdom. Someone is cornered in public. They do not rage. They laugh. The laugh hides a needle, but the needle does not pierce a person. It only pierces embarrassment. Once embarrassment breaks, breath flows. Once breath flows, words come easier. Easier does not need practice tonight. Try one line tomorrow. If it fails, that is fine. Jinang has plenty of failure too. Feng Menglong did not only collect winners. Winner stories are fun to watch. Loser stories are easier to sleep on. You can sleep when you can put a loss down. Some people complain Jinang is too scheming, as if it teaches slickness. Slickness is cleverness without a bottom line. The good stories in Jinang usually have a bottom line. Save the state. Save the family. Save yourself without losing your human shape. Feng Menglong also collected absurd and sinister tales so you could see how complex people are. He did not mean you should copy everything. Learning means choosing. Choosing is the reader's duty, and the best thing to do before sleep. Keep the good. Pass the bad. Passing the bad is not forgiving the world. It is forgiving yourself. One more child wisdom note for people who run anxious. Children answer trap questions cleanly partly because they think less about face. If you replay conversations before sleep, borrow a layer less of what will they think of me, and a layer more of what is the fact. Facts are often shorter than face. Short is easier to sleep on. Jinan also teaches retreat. Retreat is not cowardice. It is knowing, like Yening, when not to advance. Advance belongs today. Retreat belongs tonight. Many people advance too hard by day and keep advancing in bed, meetings in the mind, debates in the mind, unsent emails in the mind. If Jinang had one line for modern people, it might be this. The most urgent wisdom is sometimes knowing today can stop. Stop, and tomorrow still has wit to spend. Do not stop, and wit burns on the pillow. One way to read Jinang is as a bedside negotiation book. Negotiation is not only commerce. Couples discussing holidays. Colleagues dividing work. Parents and children talking screen time. All are negotiation. In negotiation, the most expensive thing is often not reason. It is rhythm. When to push. When to pause. When to change the sentence. Many stories Feng Menglong collected teach rhythm. Rhythm right, the other side has not lost yet, but the room already loosens. Loose is the keyword before sleep. If you pull the day too tight, night spends time loosening. Better to leave a scene by day. Some ask, will Jinang teach me to be bad? It can, if you learn moves without learning bottom lines. Readers in Feng Menglong's time spoke of righteousness. Today we speak of rules and respect. The words for the bottom line can change. The bottom line itself cannot. Cleverness without a bottom line is calculation, not the humane quick wit Jinang favors. Before sleep, ask yourself one question. Did the clever move I used today keep someone else awake? If you keep someone else awake, it often comes back and keeps you awake too. Karma sometimes speaks through rhythm. Rhythm breaks and the heart breaks with it. The whole book has no single conclusion, like a bag of mixed beans, each with its own taste. Feng Menglong said something like this in his preface. Affairs under heaven branch endlessly. One volume cannot hold them all. You can only take what you need. What you need before sleep may be replaying one fewer thing. One thing does not need 10 stories to solve. One story is enough to remember one kind of turn. Turn is Jinan's favorite image. The person is still there. The words are still there. Yet the situation shifts slightly. Shift is not magic. It is angle. You can practice angle while lying down. Take today's most blocked matter and sort it into a Jinan type. Supreme wisdom. Clear wisdom. Observant wisdom. The label does not need to be exact. Label once and the heart steps back a little. Step back a little and sleep comes closer. Bedside Book Voice often says reading is not stuffing the book into your head. It is pulling your head back from day toward night, little by little. If you have heard Sun Tzu, you may remember winning without fighting. Jinang adds this. Sometimes not fighting means one sentence. If you have heard Essentials of Government from the Jingguan Reign, you may remember Wei Jing daring to advise. Jinang also has remonstrance, but more often in markets, borders, inner quarters, wine tables, closer to you. Close does not mean vulgar. It means ancients also felt awkward, also felt fear, also bent the mind in one instant. That bend is a lovable part of being human. Wang Yangming in Jinang is often tied to heart and change. His school of mind speaks of knowing and acting as one. The Wang Yangming of Jinang is more often in concrete scenes. How to steady soldiers' hearts. How to break rumors. How in a bad position to hold your own panic first. Holding panic is the same homework before sleep. You do not need the whole philosophy. Remember this. Many games are not lost outside first. The heart loses first. Heart chaos makes even a fine plan feel like scrolling the phone in bed. Hand moves. Mind empties. There is also a spirit like Lin Shangru returning the jade intact to Zhao. Facing strong power, hard collision is courage. Clever taking is satchel wisdom. Clever taking is not petty theft. It is keeping dignity and bottom line when strength is unequal. Bottom line is worth one thought before sleep. Did I give up a little bottom line today for convenience? A little give is sometimes necessary. Give until you cannot sleep and it is not necessary. Unnecessary things can be reviewed tomorrow. Tonight let bottom line and blanket cover you together. Jinang also traveled far in East Asia. Scholars in Japan and Korea read it. Some translated it into their own languages. They did not read only for Chinese history. They read for cases. The magic of cases crosses dynasties. You do not have to be a person of qi to learn from Yanning how not to lose face. Not losing face sometimes means giving up a little obsession with winning on the spot. Put the obsession down and the pillow softens. Some shelved Jinang beside Rongjai Suebi and Mengshi Bitten and call them all notebook literature. But Zinang picks more drama. Suebi leans more toward insight. Bitten leans more toward learning. Before sleep, drama is easier to enter than insight. Insight is lighter than learning. Light is one standard Bedside Book Voice uses when choosing books. Not shallow. Depth wrapped in story, like salt in soup. You taste it. You do not need to choose salt grains. Feng Menglong in his later years lived through the fall of Ming and rise of Qing. Legend says he died for his state. Some say he went into exile. Historians still argue. We do not need a verdict tonight. Keep one outline. A man who edited countless stories finally became a story himself. People inside stories collect stories. Story collectors are collected by later ages. You listening now are already outside the bag, looking at this wisdom satchel. You do not need to carry the bag away. Remember two words. Quick wit does not mean hurry. It means at the crucial moment the heart still has another road. The opening question can close now. Why Jinan, not the complete encyclopedia of stratagems? Because Feng Menglong knew readers did not want a shelf of theory pressed on the chest. They wanted one story they could pull out, pillow under it, panic a little less tomorrow. A satchel is soft and close to the body. An encyclopedia is hard and presses the bed. Bedtime reading wants soft. Soft does not mean boneless. The bones are inside. The outside does not poke you awake. Before good night, one small question. Among tonight's many stories, which type do you most want to remember? Supreme wisdom going around. Clear wisdom offering a step. Observant wisdom reading silence. Or child wisdom answering clean. No need to answer now. After you wake, tell me in the comments. I read every one. If you like nights like this, subscribe to the channel and tap the bell. On the next sleepless evening I can find you again. Next time we can read Weilu Yewa, Words by the Winter Stove. Jinan teaches turning fast in urgent moments. Weilu teaches slow tea by slow fire. One is like a daytime crossroad. One is like a night stove side. Both suit the pillow. Put today down. Leave tomorrow for tomorrow. You do not need to become Yin. You do not need to become Feng Menglong. You only need to become the self who is willing to replay one fewer time tonight. One fewer replay means a little more sleep. A little more sleep means a mind that can turn tomorrow. Turning well is the real wisdom. One last gathering in. Jinan, in the end, is Feng Menglong packing 2,000 years of sudden light into one soft bag. You do not have to carry the bag. You can keep only one flash. One flash is enough for tomorrow's trouble to cost you half a beat less panic. Half a beat in sleep is sometimes half an hour. Half an hour, for listeners of Bedside Book Voice, can be worth more than any stratagem. Worth not because you defeated someone. Worth because you finally brought yourself back from the daytime battlefield into the quilt. Let the lamp stay dim. Jinan sits on the shelf, and also in the few seconds before your eyes close. A few seconds is enough. Enough for one turn, from the battlefield of day back to the quilt. The battlefield opens again tomorrow. Tonight, close the door. Closing the door is also a kind of wisdom. This is Bedside Book Voice. Good night, see you in the pages.